What's going on, guys? Khalipa's Tech here, coming back at you with another video. So we're gonna do something a little bit different in this video because I found some information about the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. So I'm gonna share that with you and go over my thoughts about it. So let's get into it. So the A13 5G is supposed to have the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor. Now it's funny, that's not the first time we've seen this in a Samsung phone. In case you missed it, I did cover the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G and it had the same processor. Now I think I know why they're doing this and I'll get to that in a second, but it looks like we're also gonna get a 6.48 inch 1080p LCD display, which is not a bad thing at all. I'm definitely not gonna be complaining about getting a 1080p display on a phone in this type of price range. If we're comparing it to the A12, which I guess we should be, then it's a huge upgrade. But at the same time, I kind of don't want to compare it to the A12 because the A12 isn't a 5G phone at all. But all the same, from the sound of it, this display is going to be pretty good. Now, I don't know whether it's going to be 60 Hz or 90 Hz. I've heard mixed reports on that, but I'm guessing it's going to be 90 Hz just because if I can remember right, the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G was also 90 Hz. And I feel like this phone's basically going to be another version of that. Now, it sounds like this phone is going to have a 50 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So if you're a big fan of the macro camera, I'm sorry, but other than that, it definitely looks like it's going to be a pretty impressive camera setup. For battery, we're supposed to get a 5000 milliamp hour battery that supports 25 watt fast charging, so I'm really not very surprised there at all. Now here's where it gets a little bit weird. Samsung always does this. There are always a ton of different variants. I don't really know why. But if the leak is 100% accurate, for RAM and storage, we're gonna get 4, 6, and 8 gigabyte variants. And for the storage, you're gonna get the option of 64 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes. Now I understand the storage, that makes sense. Having two variants with two different amounts of storage space makes sense. But with the RAM, I mean, I guess it might be a carrier thing. Sometimes that's the case. But I wish they would just keep it down to maybe 1 or 2 different variants, but I guess when the actual phone comes out, we'll really see for sure. But I will say 64 and 128 gigabytes of internal storage is definitely going to be pretty good. And we got some solid fast charging with the battery, so if you got one of those really powerful fast chargers, like the Anker chargers that go in your car, then it's actually going to make more of a difference. So that's pretty much most of the info we got from the leak, but we also got a picture of what this phone's supposed to look like, so let's take a look at that. So this is basically what the phone is supposed to look like, and wait a minute, I've seen that camera somewhere. So yeah, this phone basically just looks like the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G, maybe missing a camera or something. And I should mention, the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G is supposed to have that same side fingerprint scanner that this phone has, and the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G has. So now my personal theory about this phone is that it's basically going to be the US version of the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. From everything I can see about it so far, all the information I got from the leak, it's basically the same phone, it has the same processor, it has the same kind of features, pretty much everything, and it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G wasn't officially launched in the US, so maybe the A13 5G is basically going to be the US equivalent to the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. I don't know, does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense to me, and if that is the case, I do think it's going to be a pretty good phone because the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G was definitely a decent phone, especially for the price. Again, we're really not going to know for sure what this phone is really going to be like until it's actually released. But from everything I can see, it does look like a pretty promising phone, but I do hope it gets released in the US because these carriers could use a nice mid-range 5G phone. Everybody seems to love the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G. It's not a bad phone, but I feel like we need some better options. I mean, we don't have a 1080p display with this phone, whereas apparently we're going to get it with the A13 5G. And in my experience, even though technically the A32 5G is a higher level phone than the A22 5G, it really didn't feel that way. Honestly, the A22 5G felt nicer, and if the A13 5G is anything like that phone, then it would be really nice to see with US carriers. But that is what we currently know about the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. I think it's going to be a pretty good phone, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G is going to be good? Or maybe you think it'll be disappointing? Maybe you'd rather stick with the A32 5G. I mean, at least it's not an iPhone, right? But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you in the next video.